Friends, I want to talk to you about probably the most important thing in my life, and that is my daily time with God. The scriptures that I've always based my life on is Mark 1:35. Jesus got up early in the morning, went to a solitary place where he prayed. In fact, when I first really came to know the Lord, I remember I was in a sanctuary one time praying, and I just said, God, I need a scripture to base my life on, and felt the Lord say Mark 1:35. I didn't know what it was. And as I started reading and studying the scripture more, I ran into scriptures like Matthew 6:6. But you go into your room, and when you've shut your door, your Father who's in the secret place will meet you and reward you openly. And it talks about that daily just conversation with God. And as I really just started diving into just my relationship with God, I was captivated by Him. And I remember when I was about 20, I started going to a church, and it was funny because I was about 20 years old, and the oldest teenager was 13, and the youngest young adult was about 30. But I knew that's where I was supposed to be. And so I went to a prayer meeting one night, and just the Lord just moved on me into where I went to the pastor and said, can I have a key to the church to start praying? And I would go up there and I would pray every day, anywhere from 3 to 6 hours. And actually there were some nights I would spend the night in the sanctuary in the altar. And so as my walk with God continued, and it's still strong to this day, I just love spending time with the Lord. And I want to tell you just one book that radically changed my life, and it's In His Face, Bob Sorge. Powerful book. In fact, I'm going to put the link to this book down below. Click it, buy this book. Also, another book by him is Secrets of the Secret Place. I'm going to put that link below too. Those books will help you. But what you have to understand is when you're at the highest of highs, you should keep your prayer life strong, because if not, you'll get arrogant and you feel like you don't need them because everything's good. When you're at the lowest of lows, you've got to keep your daily private time with God strong, because if you don't, you're going to want to give up. You're going to get tired. You're going to get weary. I'm telling you, if you can stay in His face on a daily basis, if you can keep that private time with God, me personally, I start my day with the Lord. If the best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup, you've missed it. You need to make sure that your time, you have an allotted amount of time. It is your priority in life. It is the main thing that you do. And when you can keep that time with God sacred, everything in life is going to work out. I've had different people tell me, how do you do what you do? How do you juggle so many things? I say prayer. And I love the quotes by so many different great generals of the past, and I like when they would say, I spend 2 hours a day in prayer, 3 hours a day in prayer. Some different generals would say, I pray 3 times a day, 30 minutes a day. And I remember I was reading just about so many different generals, and every one of them always talk about their personal time with God is the thing that makes them stable. It is the stability that keeps them. And we're no greater than they are. And I promise you, you will never be able to do the supernatural things that God has called you to do if you do not have a personal daily time with Him. I will be talking about this until the day that I die. Because when you learn that, when you learn the Mark 6:46, and Jesus took care of the disciples, then went high up on a mountain where He prayed. He started His day in prayer. He ended His day in prayer. In fact, years ago, when Google was really young, I typed in Google one time, when did Jesus pray? And it responded, Jesus prayed in the morning, at lunchtime, in the afternoon, at night. Well, Jesus prayed all the time. That was Google's answer. And so I want to encourage you today, in your life, if things are going great, recommit yourself to the place of prayer. If things are going bad, recommit yourself to the place of prayer. And when you make big decisions of your life, make sure that you are praying about them, that you have consecrated yourself, that you are sowing verbal seeds in prayer over those situations. And I just encourage you, if you can make a habit, if you can make a habit of praying every day, what I do is I start every morning in prayer And then before lunch, I try to get in my office just a small section of my time at least, and I devote it to prayer. And then between lunch and the time that I go home, I have a small pocket that I devote to prayer. There's a lot of times that I don't even take lunch. I just sit in my office and I take an hour and I just devote it to prayer because I love prayer. I love just spending that time with Him. And you will never do what God has called you to do to the greatest degree that He's called you to do it unless you stay in that place of prayer. You stay in His face. You stay in that secret place and you have that strong, strong daily devotion. I hope this encouraged you today and drew you back into that place of prayer.